in the past few decades. If anyone invented the jack-of-all-trades device, then it's Nobile with their Bidi split foil board. You can separate the board with maximum length of 76 centimeters. You can use the Bidi in all areas for freeriding and foiling. Of course, the total length is then extended by a few centimeters for the mast, which is 85 centimeters. Firstly, the light wind properties. When foiling, we need a decent kite pull, because the wing comes into flight at about 20 km per hour. The positioning of the wing is chosen that in comparison to other boards the mast is placed far forefront to achieve a neutral position of the trim. The wing is quite thick due to its profile, which means that it flows early. Overall, it does not have as much area as a pure light wind wing, so it ascends a little more abruptly. If we configure the NHP split foil board as a Bidi, you have already seen the binding test in our separate video, then we need a kite size of about 15 square meters and a rider weight of 85 kilograms. About 12 knots as the lower limit, and hereby get into the glide well. Due to the strong V-rocker, the board has its strongest curve in the middle part. To the tips the curve is more straight overall, so you should leave a little more weight on the rear foot throughout to achieve the best result. This riding technique tip is also applicable on the upwind course. You can only set the edge effectively if you stay on your back leg. But of course you only have a shorter part of the edge in the water due to the V-rocker, which ultimately still leads to a satisfactory result. The board is tuned very loosely overall. This stronger felt rocker line together with the 4 cm long fin require only a little strength effort to switch. The NHP split foil board is very easy to turn. It turns really extremely tight. Has a maximum pull on the edge and it doesn't lose any speed in the curve radius. Turning seems to be one of the most important topics in the overall development of this concept, because the carbon Freeride wing by Nobile is extremely close to revving and it keeps its current well. Here, a speed range of 20 km per hour is enough to keep the whole thing flying evenly. Overall, the Zen carbon Freeride foil from Nobile is quite developed. It has really good stability in all axes. He gets his joy of turning from a mix of yaw and roll axis because the whole thing is really very tight and easy to turn, as already mentioned. Only the area of use of the skill is limited a little because you need a constant speed, i.e. constant kite pull, always enough pressure on the rear foot. Even during straight maneuvers, meaning changing feet. Of course, there is no stand area on the board, so if there was a thin EVA in between that would certainly be helpful. Even if you drive with non-slip shoes, it is still a bit slippery, because the board is not wide with its 41.5 centimeters. There is no room to play or spectacular variations, so you have to have a certain level of foiling ability to get through the maneuvers smoothly and nicely. On the positive side, it should be noted that the arrangement of the foot straps and the combination of power positions results in a neutral trim. Let's get to the speed ranges in freeride mode as Bidi. The whole has a fairly large speed range compared to non-divisible boards, which is lively on the one hand and also allows a good top speed. With the foil we have an average ascent rate of 20 km per hour. Overall, this foil is not fast. We achieved maximum values of just over 30 km per hour. The focus is really clearly on the joy of turning the wing. Since the rocker line and the outline towards the tail are quite straight, you need a straight edging for maximum jump performance. Process with a little more pressure on the rear foot to be able to use the maximum edge. If you use this technique while jumping, then you have an astonishingly easy jump. The board detaches very nicely from the water surface and the whole thing is really effective compared to non-divisible boards. Even if you like it unhooked, you get a sufficient performance from pop, and the V-rocker really makes all forms of landing soft at all times, so this is really extremely pleasant. Really high jumps with the foil should not be expected, because the wing really lacks speed. But it is nice how well and quickly the current is again on the wing, so that you can quickly rebuild the necessary adjacent flow even if you drop below the gliding limit. The overall height and control of the board is good. A small surprising point that we noticed, is that in the middle area of the board, i.e. where the board is put together, is always a little splashing water, which also splashes through the plug. Initially, this is a bit irritating. And if we recall all the performance areas for freeriding or foiling, overall it's a good to satisfactory performance. It should be clear to everyone that such an all-rounder must ultimately have a certain compromise somewhere. Nevertheless, you have comparatively a very small luggage size, which of course makes it easier to transport it via aircraft, and for those who simply don't have as much space, but like to travel with the Bidi and foil on board. The whole thing is available in excellently crafted bags from Nobile, so that this setup can also be transported as befits its status. From roller bags to individual small bags for the board, you can buy everything in the accessories. And if you provide the deck with a very thin EVA, which should not have a major impact on the weight, the subject and slip resistance in the foil area, can also be ensured. And last but not least, it has to be mentioned that Nobile developed these principles a long time ago, that you can find foot straps and that all of them can be installed without tools, so that a quick change between both directions should not be a problem.